Welcome to Sister Chats Refined. We've created a space for real conversations and a place where we can all be seen, heard, and most importantly, inspired. I'm Joy.
And I'm Liz, and we're letting you into our everyday conversations so you're going to get some of this sister energy. So whether you need
A big sis
or a little sis, we got you.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Sister Chats Refined with Joy
And Liz.
And today we're going to be talking about sisterhood. We're going to be talking about some of the complexities within the relationships between women. Sisterhood, it could be tricky.
A little bit
tricky. So we're going to get into it today, right? So when we think about the relationship between sisters, and we're talking about women. So we happen to be sisters by blood because we have the same mama and daddy.
Yes.
But we're talking about those relationships that extend beyond blood.
Yeah, we're talking about besties.
Yeah, we're talking about
your friend. We're talking about twin.
Yeah.
We're talking about all of that. That's where we're going with this. And sometimes those types of relationships are hard to cultivate.
Yeah.
They are hard to
maintain over the years. So we're going to talk about that too, how you maintain these sisterhoods and these friendships as life happens.
Yes.
So we're talking about that. This morning when I was thinking about this topic, I was thinking about the endearing that comes with the word, I think sis.
Yeah, sis.
It's different because you can, when you extend that word, and I think when I extend that word, I want whoever it's going to automatically feel, even though we might not have relationship, we might not know each other like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, we're good, we're okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're in an environment or you're in a space with somebody who, I can give you some characteristics of a sis.
And it's levels to it because even on social media, when you're commenting back to somebody, you'll see people say, thanks, sis.
Yes.
Or thank you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's levels to it.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, it is an endearing word. Sisterhood, though, that's different.
That's so true.
That's different.
Sis and sisterhood. And I think that separates it because I think sis says, hey, you can possibly put your guard down.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're in a space where I understand as a woman that there's a sisterhood. Yes, that's a sis. You see a young lady walk into a room and she's just, head to toe. Okay, sis. I see you, sis. That's immediate, I'm cheering for you.
Yes.
So
you look good. You did that.
Okay, sis.
Shadunk-da-dunk.
The shadunk-da-dunk. And what's the other one? Shadunk-da-dunk. Balink-da-dink.
I love you, Andrea.
Yes. Shout out. Yes. And so when you think about that and you see that, I think it lets, the guard come down a bit.
Yes.
I see you. There's no hate here.
Yeah, there's no hate, no competition.
Yeah, no competition.
No, I'm cheering for you. It's literally, I'm cheering for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you would probably cheer for me as well.
Yes. And I want you to know that, you're okay. We're okay in this space together.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, we talked about sis. Let's talk about sisterhood. How do we get there?
Yeah.
What do you look for in a female that's going to be you know what? This right here, she's family. This is my sister.
Yeah, this is sister. This is worth. I go to a few lunches. Let's go to lunch. I would kick it with you. Let's go to lunch. Let's do brunch. Okay. That is, I think, when sis moves into sister and sisterhood, that is I am gonna really let you into this space to see if we can cultivate something beyond just some
compliments.
Compliments or some commonality. Sometimes we've had, and even just I guess culturally, you would be quicker maybe to call another melanated sister another sis, as opposed to, but when does it can extend beyond that? And
Absolutely.
So I think that the sisterhood is an understanding, but people have different meanings, I think, for sisterhood.
Yeah, or what they're looking for.
Yes.
Because I think that has to go with your upbringing,
I think,
and really your ability to have relationships.
Sure.
Because some people might have, their sisterhood is going to be different than my sisterhood with someone. Because I think a lot of people feel differently, like expectations make things differently. Like and I don't want to skip here, but I want to say this, like, how important do you feel like expectations are with friendships?
I think that's great. I think we're gonna get there to that point, because that's something that I do as we're talking. I want you to think about, as you're listening, guys, like the expectations that you have on the women in your lives that are your sisters, that you call sister, that you mean. And this is like beyond blood sisters, because we know, and I can't wait till we do the show about the complexities between blood sisters. That's going to be, we're going to bring some people on. It's going to be amazing, but we're not there yet. But it's coming, but it's going to be really, really good, because that's a different phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
This is your expectations and how you think about sisterhood coming into it. And then like how your relationships prior to, like how your relationships have shaped you into even going into that. You know what I mean? Like you might just be, and for women, and this is where we were talking about it was tricky, it's because a lot of times we get a bad taste in our mouth early with female relationships because of the insecurities that so many women carry coming into just being in a room with other women, or having to go to a place where they're not the only woman, but there's other women there and there are men there, and you're trying to figure out, it's almost becomes like a race or a competition instantly. So like really allowing that stuff to be like smoothed out, and to say like, how do I look at relationships, period, especially other females? What has shaped that? What has shaped my idea of what a friend is in a sisterhood? Because we can look at, like, I have friends. Are they like sisters, or do we just lump that together, friendship and sisterhood?
Yeah. I feel like sisterhood is a little bit different from just friendship. I believe friendship is someone that you guys can both call each other friends. This is a two-way street here. I think that your limitations on sharing things might be a little bit more with just a friendship. I think a sisterhood is almost like unspoken. Like I don't really have to say anything to my friend for her to understand that I'm going through something.
Yeah.
Like she just knows and I just know. It's like a sisterhood. It's like it's a bond that you've created over time. And I don't believe, I'm not a person that says it has to be a long time to have a sisterhood, because I do not believe that. But I believe that the quality of your conversation shifts and changes, and it will embed you deeper into sisterhood. I think that changes. I think what you share with someone and what they share with you, and it's authentic, and you guys begin to create this bond that you have this understanding with each other. It just like clicks. Those one relationships that you don't even have to push or try, it just happens. It just falls into it. I think that those are the ones that are like, wow, this is something special. This is different. And finding that, I think, can be rare. Like you said, dealing with like insecurities or not even understanding like the expectation you're going into something. I think that can be the tricky part of sisterhood, because sometimes I had a couple good girlfriends. I thought they were like my good girlfriends.
Like,
and then I found out they were my bad girlfriends. They weren't
like no
wanting
new friend
the best
type material.
They weren't wanting the best for me. And at the time, I probably wasn't wanting the best for them.
That's good.
You have to take ownership. And this is another thing of being like, refined and growing into this thing, to know that you have to take ownership for your role in the relationship.
Yes.
And you have to say, was I a good friend? Because there was times where I was not a good friend. And maybe that made them flip into not being a good friend. But eventually it was like, oh, we were really good friends, but now I don't even recognize you.
Yeah. And it then puts you into a place, or that person into a place of doubting like true friendship and true like, I guess, sisterhood. Because one of the things I really have stood on is like sisterhood cannot be, it can't be faked. It either is or it isn't. You can tell the difference. And I think the big turnoff that happens is people try to fake sisterhood. And when you are in a relationship with women or whatever, and it's fake, it's a turnoff, because there's such a genuineness that comes with sisterhood, and such a power that comes with true sisterhood, that it's a smack in the face when someone tries to, fake it.
to fake it. And honestly, you can tell.
You can
that
tell.
it's being faked.
Yeah.
So, I think that might be another reason why, some women may be reluctant to find that sisterhood because they're really not sure if this person is really who they say they are to them. How do you represent me when I'm not there?
Yeah.
Or do you talk about me? Or do you are you on the phone with somebody telling everybody my business after I told you my business?
And because that's happened so many times with people who have either promised and that's when we get into expectations. How much expectation are you putting on somebody? Is it okay? And I think it goes in with, when you were talking, I was like, this reminds me of people who have an idea, they fall in love with the idea of love.
Yeah.
Same thing with people who like the idea of sisterhood. They fall in love with the idea and what it may feel like, that it's not that. You just love the idea of it, but you don't, you know what I mean? It also goes back to like how they feel about themselves.
Yeah.
If you're not a friend to yourself, how can I expect you to be a friend to me?
Yeah.
If you don't love yourself, how can I expect you to be able to extend any type of love to me? So it's looking at that, and we're looking at the complexities and the things that make sisterhood tricky. Goes back to, it's always going to go back to self.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not anything necessarily that anybody's done to you. Sometimes it's what you've allowed to happen.
Yeah.
And that could be based off of what you didn't understand. Like, I know now.
Yeah.
I didn't know then, or I wasn't aware of it as much then as I am aware of it now.
Yeah.
And so that's huge.
Yeah.
And like I've said in our other episode, how when you realize something's been attacked so much, so even from the beginning, it just seems like women have always
had a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, like that. I don't have no girlfriends. I'm only friends with guys.
Yeah. And I was like that for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, I gravitated more so to guys because there was no drama.
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about them feeling jealous.
Yeah.
And then I didn't feel like I needed to shrink.
Yeah.
And that's another indicator.
I don't know if anybody did this. When I was in middle school, I was so confident in myself. But when I walked around other girls, I wanted to be the smallest thing in the room.
Yes.
I did not want anybody to notice me. And then if they did notice me, I wanted them to notice something was happening wrong. So I would walk around in front of people and I would just start itching. Scratching my leg, like, what's that? Knowing my leg does not itch, but letting them know that, listen, I want you to see that I'm really like imperfect. I don't think I'm perfect. And I'm willing to actually bend down, smack my leg, and scratch it, and act like something's inside.
That's
just so that you will understand that I am a person. With feelings?
Listen, do you remember when we discovered that we did the same thing and didn't know?
We had no idea
that we did that.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. And we talked about it at that time later on. This is later. When we talked about how uncomfortable people made us because we knew or had heard or they had said that we think that we're perfect.
Yeah. And that was never the case.
Never
it was like
the case.
They never bothered to talk. They never bothered to talk to us. It was,
of how we carried ourselves.
Yes.
And how we maybe might have talked and how we dressed and how we walked.
Yeah.
Something about who we were made them feel a way.
Yeah.
And they didn't like it.
Yeah.
And so what we did to try to
appease them
and make them feel comfortable, this is something you learn later, where it's just like, you don't let anybody make you shrink or feel like you need to shrink. If your presence is too big. Now in middle school, you don't know that.
You don't know that.
Okay, you're just trying to literally make it to math class. You're trying to make it down the hall to math.
Yeah.
But while everybody's standing at their lockers, and middle school is just one of those times when everybody's lining the hallways, they're doing whatever, you and yourself have to walk down past these people
by yourself.
And so in order for me to feel comfortable or just try to make you feel comfortable or just be like, listen guys, I promise I'm normal like everybody else, I instantly, oh gosh, something's in my eye. Oh my gosh. Like I'm
crazy.
Instantly doing that.
Like, I remember hitting my leg so hard that after I did it, I was like,
that hurt.
I was thirsting to just be liked beyond your thought of what you thought of me.
Yes.
Like, you didn't even give me an opportunity to be myself.
Yeah.
And so then, what did I put on? I absolutely think I am everything and more. And I wish you would talk to me. Because then I got the whole, like, you're stuck up. And I was like, I'm going to go ahead and be proud of that. Because when I tried to be myself, y'all wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
You wouldn't let me. So then you have to put on this hard coat of, this is who I am. I only talk to guys. I don't fool with girls. Because you tried to give the girls a chance and they didn't give you no chance.
Right.
So, like, on up, I don't fool with girls. No, I only talk to guys. And it is what it is.
Yep.
Because you're rejected.
It's that
you're
rejection.
Rejected off of a
you can dress.
notion.
Yes.
Off of you can dress. And I'm wearing my sister's clothes. Listen, we're all my sister's clothes. Like, they would wear it on Monday. Yeah, because I was wearing it on Tuesday.
Yeah, we were at the high school. She was at the middle school. Nobody had to know.
Listen,
okay?
So
Nobody.
I wasn't like the clothes that y'all thought I had. Now, like, I did wear a new outfit every day, but it was my sister's.
Yeah.
So it was like the stuff that people thought you had, and they would just giving me an opportunity to get to know me. I think that things would have been, middle school for me was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful. Mm-hmm. It was like, I was bullied. It sucked.
Mm-hmm.
It sucked. And as though I did have some good friends in middle school that, definitely helped get through it. Now, in any case, I've never been a sob story. So let's not say that. Not that. But inside, it was like, ouch.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go to school. There was times I didn't want to go to school. My brothers were like, oh, no, you going to school.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even want to go to school. I'm scared of so.
Yeah.
I'm scared of all them girls.
Yeah. Like, waited to make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, and they just waited to make me feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So as a mother now now she's 18, but as she went through school, I made sure she was empowered. I said, listen, somebody might make you feel this type of way. And this is only because of my experience, because my mother did the same thing with me. But because of my experience, and I know how my daughter, how her feelings are and everything, I wanted to make sure that she knew that it doesn't matter where you walk into, do not shrink.
Mm-hmm.
Do not shrink, because shrinking over time makes you very small.
Yeah.
And the buildup that you have to do to get back to who you really are is a really long journey. It's a long journey to understanding, in the first place, where was that first set of rejection?
Mm-hmm.
When did it begin to change?
Right.
So for me, like we said, like that tricky part of sisterhood, it was like, I was a no new friends.
Yeah, like we
a very long time.
Like we had our crew, and that was just it.
Yes.
And it took a minute to realize, one, that like you have to give people the permission to make you feel that way. You know, like you had a part in that, And at middle school is, one of those times, and you talk to most people, especially women, and they'll be like, middle school, I could have skipped it. Like, and with me, like, my daughter started homeschool right at middle school. She didn't go to any middle school whatsoever. And I don't regret it. I don't think she does either. But I knew that I could build in her what I needed to build during a time where she could have really been torn down for no reason. Mm-hmm. And for no reason. So it's just like, I can equip her in this time, you know what I mean? So where she has the confidence and she has boldness, that she doesn't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And hopefully this helps her in her own relationships with girls, because middle school was that part of me that I had to face and say, this isn't how everyone is. And understand that you go through a period in your life, all at that same time, you got to think about all the stuff you're going through as a young lady during that time. I mean, hormones, emotions, like all kinds of things. When you get over that, though, and you get into high school, sometimes some of that falls off. You'll see that some of the girls you didn't talk to in middle school, you may talk to. But when you get to college, it's a whole different ball game. You understand that you're going to build some relationships, and you start to see relationships of young ladies who are like you. So that commonality, that you get like reassurance again in sisterhood, and maybe there can be a bond here. It's no happenstance that sororities and things are formed in college. It's understanding that, okay, this is a time now that I can actually explore this again. Like, I can do this again and really have some real relationships. Most of the time, and I don't know the statistic, Liz, but I'm sure we could have found this out if I thought about it. But most people go back to, they're still friends with the people they were in college with. Their first college roommate ends up being their long life friend. And I don't think that's just by happenstance. I think it's because you're at a place where you can become more accepting and open and a little more vulnerable in a space where everybody is going through this new thing. You know, so everybody's kind of in the same
and they're
the
not
same
from
spot.
like mostly they're not in their hometown.
Yeah, it's new
where they've created who
right.
they are in their hometown.
Right.
And they don't have to stick to that. They can literally change right then and there who they've been their entire schooling.
They can create.
Nobody would really know unless unless you told them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you think about relationships that extend beyond that time period, we went through all of the awkwardness of middle school. You know, you get to high school and you usually find your crew. So we had from high school was like
high school.
No new friends.
That was my jam.
Yeah, Liz had
I had the best
high school experience. It's like a movie.
Like a movie.
Yeah, it's like
every
a movie.
Day. Like a movie. And y'all, if anybody's watching, you guys know it was like a movie. From high school.
Yeah. So anyway,
20-year reunion coming up.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Crazy.
But we're fine. We're fine now from those.
Oh, absolutely.
Those moments,
definitely refined. I'm not the same Liz 20 years ago, but.
Yeah, but it was a good time, and I think that, you know, it was a time to be had.
Yeah,
so,
time to be had.
So now we're at the point where we have relationships within, so we have sisterhoods that we've built within this life of motherhood and being a wife.
Yes.
And so I said we'd get back to expectations. I think this is where, you know, we look at that, like the expectations change.
Yeah.
From like earlier on to like now, where when we've talked about how we talk every single day.
Yes.
But when her husband, he travels, he's on tour a lot. My husband is at work all day and I work from home. So we're able to really
talk.
Have a great old time. Okay. But when her husband comes back home from tour, my expectations of talking to her all day, every day change. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like that, knowing that we're in a sisterhood.
Yeah.
So I understand your life beyond what it does for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think that's where it crosses over to be like, sometimes you going like, well, who are you for me? And I need you to be this for me.
Yeah.
And I need you to be...
No.
Liz got 5 whole kids.
Yes.
A husband.
Yes.
And her own business, her own life.
Mm-hmm.
And so my expectations of her being there for me 24/7 just wouldn't be fair.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be fair. And it wouldn't be right.
Yeah, I feel like that's something because we have that understanding and that's really important. I'll say that one of my best girlfriends, Ebony, we talk maybe twice a month, but never miss a beat.
Yeah.
And I will say that there is our expectations, like you said, of each other. Like I know like her boys play all the sports.
Yeah.
Like she works. I'm not about to try to call her. I know what she's doing. And it's okay, and we'll send each other, a text, here and there, just to make sure we're both good. But that expectation is super important.
Yeah.
And I will say, when you understand the expectation and you respect it,
right,
you are able to keep the friendship just as strong as when it started.
Healthy.
Since we were 8 years old, we're still tight.
Yeah.
I love you, Ebony.
Shout out.
Shout out
to Ebony.
But we're still tight, and I think that expectation piece is really important. I've had some ladies who wanted to be friends. I don't know what to call them, but their expectation of me was so high, and I wasn't even in the bracket of, I didn't think we were going to even be friends.
Yeah. So
it was like, if I did something and they're offended, I'm like, where did this offense come from? Why would you be offended? Yeah. But that goes with like expectation. Like I didn't clearly ask an expectation and they clearly didn't say their expectation. So I think that's huge, especially in our grown lives as she's old and I'm getting older.
You're not going to call me old, because old is definitely not attached to anything that I'm about. So I'm not old. However, I am, my age is higher than yours, but I'm not old. So,
but in our older age, as we get older, as we grow,
yes,
I think that it's important to understand expectation more now than ever.
It is. When you were talking, and I don't know if anybody, I used to be a Housewives, like I used to watch all the Housewives before they got really just...
So who were the Housewives on here?
Okay, I used to watch all of them, but I was a Housewives of Atlanta fan. Okay. And at one point in one of the episodes, I believe it was Atlanta, they had friend contracts. Okay, they had friend contracts, but I don't know what was in it, but when you were talking about that, it's just like, okay, you need to fill out either this application. Let me just see if what you want from me is what I can give.
Yeah.
That's the difference, I think, between ones that are just automatic and it just doesn't, like, it's just like, I know I'm connected to this person.
Yeah.
Like, I felt that way with Kareem. It was just like, we don't have a friend contract or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was such a bond that I knew that we could share that I was just like, sis, whatever you need. You know, but I knew also that she would not exploit that. And she was not going to like take it to the hilt and like call me every day at all hours of the day. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew, but I think with people who are just kind of like you were saying, like, I didn't even know you really want to be my friend. Let me look at what this looks like. And I think when you think of someone and you think that we might need to fill out a contract or make an application, that it just don't need to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you need to ask yourself, like, is this an application friend?
Right. Is this an app friend?
Yeah. What do we, and I completely agree with
but there's those ones that is just like, when you know that the sisterhood is the sisterhood, it's like, this person is definitely for me and I could be for her right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right now. And we'll see how that evolves.
Yes.
And I think that's important and it's key, but it takes growth and it takes refinement to even be able to do that. Because if I'm thirsty for friends, I'm out here like, whoever wants to be my friend. And then I realize that I'm being pulled at all these different angles and then still trying to be a wife and still trying to be a mother. Sis, if you ain't helping me figure out what we about to cook today, and like, you want to be on the phone with me,
you're not in the same vein of, you know, and I will say my closest friends, they all do have children and they're married. And I'm not saying that I couldn't be friends with anybody that isn't married, because I do have some friends that are not married. But what I am saying is that common denominator where I was talking to my homegirl on the phone the other day, and I said, I don't even know how we're having this conversation. Your kids are screaming so loud. And we both didn't even, it's like we didn't even know that they were screaming, but it was the loudest screams. And it took us saying that for her to be like, be quiet. Like, it was like, because I was like, everybody is not just one of them. Oh,
3 of them was screaming.
You know who I'm talking about too. They were just screaming. It's just like my boys do the same thing. They just run around and scream. So if I'm on the phone with you, I need you to understand that doesn't mean I need to get off the phone.
Yeah.
That just simply means I have children.
Yeah.
And my house is alive.
Yeah. It is alive.
My house is alive.
Listen, can I just say that her children listen to the TV so loud, she doesn't even realize it. Sometimes I'm like, what is that in the background? And it's just like SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob. I'm like, it is so loud. But because my house is not loud anymore, my kids are teenagers, they go into their spaces, we're in our spaces, and it's pretty chill. But I understand that about her. And I understand that if I'm working on something that I kind of need us to have regular and not the kids, I'll be like, hey, go ahead, because them kids is on your head. Yeah. I say something like that. I'm like, they on your head right now. Like, they ain't letting you do nothing. Then you'll just hear out of it, Mom, I love you. Can you give me a kiss? I would like to kiss you, Mom. I'd like to kiss you. She's like, okay, now come over here and kiss me. That's fine. You want to kiss? And then I didn't get to kiss you here, Mom. And it's kiss you the forehead, the nose, the cheek. And I'm just, and all of that on the kisses. Phone. You know, with this. And it's just an understanding. It's an understanding. And then for another like whole spectrum is just like when I'm working on something, I'm either working on someone's contract, I'm coming up with new ideas for my business. Yeah. However, so when she hears and she'll say it, I'll be typing. She's like, girl, you don't let nobody tell you ain't typing right now. That's what she'll say. Yes. She'll say something like that. I'm like, oh, I am sorry, but we're still in mid-conversation.
But I also understand she has stuff to do. Our conversations, as you can see, they can go places. So I'm like, call me back when you're done.
Yeah, if it goes,
and that's it. Just call me back, because I honestly probably didn't even want nothing in the first place.
Yeah, we probably
didn't want nothing in the first place. So after I've said what I need to say, or she does, that expectation to know that, hey, this person actually has a life outside our friendship.
Yes, outside of me.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Like, it makes sense in the life outside the friendship, mostly, and we're not even going to get into this topic right now. You may have put yourself on the back burner and you're still looking for yourself time. You're like, oh, I don't even have time for myself to gather myself. I need to gather myself because if I don't gather myself, I can't gather myself for anybody else. I can't be who I'm supposed to be to my husband, my children, my mother, my friends. I can't be that person because I haven't even got a moment to myself.
Right.
So knowing that, you also having that boundary of, yes, we're really good friends, but I also know she has this quiet time. Maybe she needs it for herself.
Yeah. Yeah. If all your children are at school, maybe for the first time, because you're literally having this for the first time, that all your children on some days, they're all at school for at least a few hours.
And take myself to that good gym.
Yeah.
Because that is my me time. That is I can think, I can plan. That is the time where I don't have to think about anybody but myself.
Yeah.
I think about, are you getting these gains or not?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you lifting? And the only other person I have to think about is my husband, because I'm in secret competition with him because he works out as well. So I'm like, I wonder how much he did today.
That's a whole other.
I wonder what he did today. Or I'm in secret competition with him. But other than that, like I use that time even to get myself centered and to give myself the ability to actually be like doing something. Because if I sit down, I'll probably take a nap.
Yeah.
And I love taking a nap, but I'm not productive in that nap era. So I try to.
But she's also mastered like the 15-minute nap, which is really cool, which I would love to be able to do, because when I take a nap, I'm asleep at least until the mid-morning of the next day. I can't. So
I can take a good nap.
So with that, I love where this is going, because just understanding where you are in the process. And you said, we don't have to necessarily go all the way there. But part of the sisterhood is understanding when your sister needs an ear.
Yes.
And when she needs advice. And I think sometimes we're used to being in relationship, especially when we have these husbands that love us so much, but they listen to try to solve.
Yes.
And we don't need that.
I just need a vent.
I just need a vent. That's
I just need a vent. And then for me, sometimes I don't even need the vent of you coming back to say, I've had to catch myself a couple times because I'm like, I already know what I'm about to say to her. I'm about to say it. I'm about to say
you're
it.
Like formulating.
And then I'm formulating in my mind, and I'm like, girl, she didn't ask for you to say nothing.
Yeah, just
sit down.
Sit down.
Shut your mouth.
Like,
and so I've had to tell myself that before, because, and I've had to apologize to friends before to say, you know what, maybe that's not what you needed in that moment, and I apologize. I was already formulating a solution for you because I see how troubled you may be about the situation. But at that very moment, she wasn't looking for a solution. She was looking for an ear.
Yeah.
And I was the ear. And after she said what she needed to say, I needed to shut my ear. And I just need to be quiet.
Like yeah.
And if she has something else to say, then that be it. But sometimes, like, to be aware, that awareness of what your friend really needs from you in that moment is really also important, because it can be off-putting. It can be off-putting if you're like, I didn't need that from you.
Yeah.
And yes, I already know this.
Yeah. And that's a
difference.
I already
know this. I just don't want to. I don't want to talk about it right now.
Right. There's a difference between that and needing to do a check.
Yes.
And I call it a sister check. Like I call it a sister check. I feel like sister checks happen when you see your sis going completely off the rails.
She's doing the opposite of what you know she's supposed to be doing.
And who she is. And I think that's important, of making sure that you are authentic.
Yeah.
Because I need you to respond to my authentic self. I don't need you to respond to this avatar. I need you to understand when you're talking to the avatar and when you're talking to me. And so that's really important, to be able to know, okay, you need those friends that are able to reel you, like you kind of reel you a little bit and give you a little bit of an adjustment to remind you of who you are. I was in still, I think I'm in the place, and I don't think I'll ever kind of be out of it, where I try to surround myself with people who can continuously remind me of who I am. A lot of times we still have the people in our lives who were with us back then that can also remind you of who you were. And also bring you back and have you to revert, because like, girl, because if this would have happened back in the day, we would have been, and I don't need that on site. I don't need on site. I don't need what we would have done back in the day, because now I'm in a different place. That goes back to our first conversation of being like, making sure that the people around you fit where you're going and where you want to go, as opposed to holding on to people that have been a part of your past, and because you feel loyal to them, just sticking it out. Like,
just blind loyalty because of a time. Like I said, the quality is so much more than just time. I do believe time is very, very precious, but it's how you use it.
Absolutely.
It's how you use it and what you use it for. So it's like you said, if they're pulling you back to anything that doesn't serve you anymore and that you don't want to be a part of your life, that might be a time to cut the tie of that sisterhood that's come undone.
Yeah.
Because at some point you grew and she didn't.
Yeah.
Or she grew and you didn't.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you've got to make that decision in your life to say, what serves me well and how can I serve them well?
Absolutely.
Friendship is two ways. It's definitely never one. And let's talk about that one-sided. If you're in that situation where you're feeling like you said, give. I'm the friend. I'm always at your events. I'm always supporting. I bought your book. I bought your cup. I bought your coloring book. I got your kids on my list. If you're that friend and you're never getting that back from maybe a sister bond that was formulated before and had a different dynamic, but after maybe some life changes have happened with your sisterhood, maybe she got married, maybe she had a kid, maybe she went through trauma, maybe she had a loss. What do you do to kind of balance the scales? What do you do?
Yeah, I was going to say like the balance is off. So like, I think that there should be some grace extended for a period of time, and grace is often connected to time period. So that's where it's, you know, your grace period.
Yeah.
I think that depending on the relationship, and has it always been that way? I think that, you know, has it been like this from the start? So therefore, that's what you are for that person. You're the giver. She's never expecting to do anything for you because you started that way. Did it come after a while where you realize like this person has gone through and now you're in a place where you're just giving, and they don't have anything to give?
Yeah.
And so my expectation, if you're at a place where you're having such a low period in your life, then I need to determine, is this a time where I'm extending grace to this friend to say, she doesn't have it, but this is where I come in and I can give because I do have what she needs. And just to say, hey, is it ongoing? So I think it just depends on the relationship.
Conversation.
The conversation. And just knowing that person and in knowing them. I've seen friends that have had moments and have had friends that had moments where right now they need you.
Yeah.
You know, they need you to be what they need.
Yeah.
It's the reason why you were friends in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I saw something in you that I might not need like every single day, but oh my goodness, like I love this part of you.
It feeds you.
Yeah. And then you same with me, oh, I love this part of you.
Yeah.
And so when I need that part of you to stand up, then am I going to continue to take it every single day? No, that becomes exploitation. That becomes like I'm abusing you in a sense.
Yeah.
Because you can only take so much. Takers are always going to take.
Yeah.
It's the receivers that have to put up the boundaries and say no, because takers do what they do. They take.
Yeah.
They leech.
Yeah.
And so when they do that, they go from you, they go to the next person. I think when we think about sisterhood, and as we talk about this, sisterhood is tricky, like, and as you're refining and you're learning to love yourself well, then I love myself enough to be able to say, this relationship is for me right now. This was for me for a season, but now I need to move forward with grace. And then living well. You're thinking about, this is how I choose, because I love myself so well and I'm able to live well and allow people to live well around me. Like I walk in this wellness of life. And so anybody connected to me, they get pieces of that.
Yeah. Yep.
And then hopefully those who are watching, our daughters, our nieces, our friends, they can follow that lead and be able to do them for themselves.
Yeah. Listen, I think we need a number 2 of this. I think there's so much more to explore with sisterhood being tricky. I think that we both have just some experiences that I think people would be able to really get something from and kind of like move forward. Maybe you feel stuck. Maybe you feel, I don't know where this friendship is headed, or, you know, I thought this friendship was going to be something else. Well, just trying to help you iron out those expectations that you may have had for those friendships, because sisterhood is important. Yeah. It is important. And I believe that everyone should have some good girlfriends around them that will hold them up in a time where they might not be able to stand themselves, and that you can do, you know, vice versa for them. Yeah. So I definitely think we need to do another episode of this.
We do. In the meantime, I want you to get your good girlfriend on your mind and have a conversation.
Yeah.
Ask her what she needs from you.
Yeah.
And then you see whether or not if it's
and then
something,
see what she may, and then flip it around.
What do you need from me?
Yeah.
What in this in your life right now, how can I be a great friend to you?
Yeah.
And then you can even see if you have the capacity to be what she needs for you, to maybe get ahead of what might not serve you well in the future, to be like, okay, so this was real conversations.
Yeah.
Sister chats. Refined, baby.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in. We hope that you join us for our next one. It will be coming up really
very, very soon. Yes. And look forward to just bringing on some of our good girlfriends, our sisters that we've connected with over the years.
Yes. So follow us. You can follow me at _Elizabeth Evan _ See, you can follow me at Elizabeth Tyler on Facebook. And what are your socials?
And you can follow me at Love My Joy Life. Love My Joy Life. And on Facebook, Joy Ellis.
All right. Until next time, guys.
All right. Bye. So until next time, live in truth, love with intention, and lead by example.
Stay connected with us on our social media platforms, Sister Chats Pod, for more inspiration and behind the scenes fun.
Remember, you have the power to shape your life and the lives of those around you. This is Joy.
And this is Liz, signing off.